Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the foXnoMad podcast. I'm your host, foXnoMad Anil Polat. I have a fascinating episode for you today. My guest is Diana Lesko. She is the blogger behind the globetrottingdetective.com. She talks about solo female travel in Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. We talk what her experiences were like traveling to these countries, what the logistics are of getting to Afghanistan, crossing overland the border from Pakistan into Afghanistan, and then what it's like what is it like when you're there as a woman? What are some of the restrictions? What are some of the misconceptions? What is the daily life like? We talk all about that. We answer some of your questions. We hear some stories that you might not expect, all in this episode. So I hope you enjoy this episode with Diana Lesko. Thank you very much for being on the podcast. As everybody listening by now knows, that I always say we jump right into the conversation because I get into these really great conversations with people. And I came across, I don't know where I came across, maybe it was your site, but you've had some really fascinating travels to some parts of the world that not a lot of people go, and recently. So I'm really interested to talk to you about, your travels to Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq. Thanks very much for being on the podcast. But let's get some background. How did you start traveling? Was Afghanistan the first country you went to? Did you just go like to the hardest place, or how did it all start?
I've been traveling for a long time, for about 20 years. Yeah, so traveling is nothing new to me. I've been traveling since I was a child, and I've been traveling solo about for 20 years. And I've been always interested in less visited travel destinations. So already when I was very young, I always wanted to travel to Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And once I got experience with traveling by myself in different parts of the world, I said one day, okay, now it's time to go to Iraq. It's time to go to Iran. It's time to go to Afghanistan. I just really love these countries because not many. I love countries that are less visited. Not many people are interested in them. That's just the way I want to go to places that I know nothing about, or there is very little information about.
And so before that, you've traveled, I'm assuming, around Europe, right? You're in Hungary,
Yes.
yep. So the sort of the familiar, or it's easier a little bit. What's the first place you went to that you felt was outside of your comfort zone or on the edge of your comfort zone?
I've never been a place like that. I never felt outside my comfort zone anywhere in the world. Somehow, I feel home everywhere in the world. You can drop me anywhere in the world. I will just feel like I belong there. I'm supposed to be there. I'm happy there. I'm comfortable there. And believe it or not, the most I feel at home in countries like Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan. And people think that, okay, what is comfortable for you in places like I'm European, so people would assume that I feel very comfortable in Europe. Actually, I feel more comfortable in the Middle East. I feel more comfortable in Afghanistan because I don't know, I feel that spiritually I'm closer to these places than to European travel destinations.
And I've had this experience, and I don't know maybe if it's the same, but when you go to a place that doesn't have a lot of tourists,
Mm-hmm.
um, people seem way more friendly because
Yes,
you're like you chose to visit. Like if you go to Paris, nobody cares, right? Because so many people go to Paris. Like,
exactly.
but
Yes.
if you choose to go to, I don't know, Baghdad or Kabul or something, you by choosing that, people know that you're there to you as a choice, and not an easy choice, I think. And so people tend to be very friendly and inquisitive. There's a different feeling that you get. Have you noticed the same thing as well when you go to these places?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I love about the countries we are talking about now, Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan. There are not a lot of tourists there. So you are basically something special, something unique. So, but also, I think in these countries, people are just much friendlier than in other parts of the world. I don't know if it would change if they had a lot of tourists. I we will only know it 30, 40 years later. But what I like about these countries and why I feel at home in these countries, because when I visit these countries, when I'm there, people are so open to talking to me, meeting me, helping me. People notice me. People care about my well-being. So you feel like you found a new family. Like in Iraq, for example, I always feel like I'm going there to meet my family because people are so friendly there. Same in Iran. And even people who don't really know you, they will welcome you. They want to help you. They want to be your friend. And that's what makes me feel at home in these countries. And maybe I go to a country very close to my country, the culture is similar. Still, I will not feel myself at home because nobody cares that I'm there. Nobody is interested in me.
So let's start with, I guess, did you go to Iraq first, then Iran and Afghanistan? And was it part of a single trip, or, are these separate trips that you took?
Both. I visited Iran for the first time in 2018. It was just 3 weeks traveling by myself in Iran. And Iraq and Iran for the first time. Then second time when I visited Iran, it was like a longer trip. I was traveling a couple of months in the Middle East, and then first 1 month in Iraq, and then 1 or 2 weeks in Iran. And then for the third time, I visited Iraq for an entire month. Yes. And then Afghanistan.
Okay, so
Sorry, I was a bit. So it's like I started in 2018 for the first time in Iran, and then 2019 Iraq and Iran, and then 2021 again Iraq, and 2023 again Iraq, something like this. So in the past couple of years, I've been in this region quite a lot. And then at the end of 2023, I traveled to Afghanistan.
Okay,
And I
so
always traveled by myself, and I organized everything for myself independently.
let's start with Iraq. Iraq, I was there last year, and before that, I was there in 2010 or 11. It's
Yes.
changed a lot. A lot has happened there, in that time. But what was the experience like for you? Like, you decided you wanted to go there. What are the logistics like? Did you fly to Baghdad? Were you in the north, the south? How did the trip look like the first time?
So the first time it was in 2019, and I just casually took a bus from Turkey to Erbil, the capital city of Kurdistan, Iraqi Kurdistan. So it was very easy. I didn't even need a visa. I just bought a bus ticket on a bus. It was so easy. So I didn't need to plan anything. I didn't need to think about anything. It was just too easy. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna be traveling a little bit in northern part of Iraq. At that time in 2019, it was not possible to travel independently in federal Iraq. So federal Iraq at that time was out of question for me because I couldn't afford paying for a tour guide. And I don't like, at that point of time, I said, no, I don't want to travel with a tour guide. I just want to explore by myself. I want to see what I can manage by myself in a country like Iraq. And also, I went to Iraq at the time to run a full marathon. Iraq organized their first marathon after the war, the first marathon after the war in Iraq. And I participated in that. And I ran 40, well, how long is the marathon? 41 and a half
40,
kilometers.
42,
Almost
yeah.
42.
Yeah, yeah.
Something, yeah, 42 kilometers. So I ran that. It was very exciting. I said,
So
if I run a marathon, I have to do it in some interesting country. So let's go
interesting.
to Iraq.
Okay, so what are you a runner? Had you run before? And
I'm
did
not
you?
a runner. I'm not a runner. I just like running. I find running fun, but no.
So what was the I have to ask you, what was the experience like? Was it which city was it in? And how was it organized? I mean, is it like, the Berlin Marathon or, Boston Marathon kind of, were these very organized and intricate? I did read up a little bit about your experience, but what was it like when you were there?
So the marathon took place in Erbil. Erbil is the capital of northern Iraq, the Iraqi Kurdistan. The event itself was fun. I can't say very well organized. Not very well organized, to be honest. The thing is, for example, I didn't know that we had a time limit. So I can run 42 kilometers, no issue, but I can't run it in 4 hours. I need 5 hours or 4.5 hours. So after 4 hours, when I've already done about 38 kilometers, they opened the traffic, because the marathon was in the city center. And we had to run like 5 circles in the city center. And then they started the traffic after 4 hours, and the volunteers were saying, hey, it's over, stop running. No way, I'm stop running. Are you crazy? I didn't come here just to run 38 kilometers. I have to finish this. I have 40 kilometers left. Even if you start bombing, or 4 or 5 kilometers left, even if you start bombing, I'm going to keep running. No way, I'm going to stop. And it was so difficult to finish the run because the traffic was open, and the traffic in Erbil is really crazy on the main roads. People are driving really, really fast, and you can't just run on the road. So I had to maneuver on the streets, up on the bridge, down the bridge, where there was not even space for me. So it was really difficult, and I was scared at the same time. Really scared. So it was crazy. And also there was not enough food on the way, because I was not very fast, because also I just wanted to finish the run. I'm not a runner. And while running, I was also taking pictures and making videos. And I was so hungry on the way while running. But by the time I got to the food stands, there was nothing left to eat. No banana, no dates, nothing. So no water. I was getting water from the policeman on the way. At least I had some water. So, but I finished the run. Hungry, I finished. In the crazy traffic, I finished. So nothing could have stopped me.
That is wild, because the average marathon time is 4 hours and 29 minutes. That's the average time for people. The Berlin Marathon, the time limit is 6.5 hours. So you have 6.5 hours to run it. So if they're ending the marathon at like 4.5 hours, they're basically cutting off most of the people.
Yes.
Was it crowded? Were there a lot of people running the race?
No, not a lot. Not a lot. Not a lot. And most people didn't finish the race.
Okay.
Actually, I would say that there were a lot of local runners. There were some of them who just started it, they ran a little bit and then they left, and some local runners who took it seriously. But the foreigners, they all wanted to finish it, because whether they were, I don't know if they were professional runners there, from other countries, maybe some. But the foreigners didn't want to quit the run just because they started the traffic, because we were like, come on, we came here to do this. We want to run our marathon in Iraq.
Yeah.
You can't stop us.
That's the whole point of the race.
Interesting.
The whole point of the race is to finish the race. Wow.
Yes.
So that is a very unique experience.
Yes.
And I wonder if they've gotten better at organizing the race, but maybe if they've kept doing it. So as you're there, I guess when I'm in a place like that, people look at me, right? They write oh, you said it was safe and it was friendly, but look at, this face. So, you're a guy, you blend in. And so I'm wondering, as a woman there, what your experience was like. Was it different in the sense that, did you feel like when you're running the race, are the only woman running the race? Is it a mix? What is it like when you're in Iraq?
Mixed. It was mixed. Very mixed. There were women, there were men, local women, foreign women, foreign men.
Yeah, and I think
it's kind of a misconception that you go to the Middle East and you do something, and there are no women there. There are women everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in Afghanistan, you go to places and people say, "Oh, don't tell me that you can't just be there as a woman." I can be there. Don't tell me that Afghan women are there. Yeah, I'm surrounded by Afghan women.
Mhm, mhm.
Afghan women invited me. Afghan women told me, "Diana, we want to take you to a nice restaurant. You have to come with us." And we are making videos, and then people say, "Oh, but Afghan women can't go to these places." Sweetheart, like I had Afghan women bringing me here. I have Afghan women taking pictures of me. So it's not that there are women everywhere.
And so, when you go to Afghanistan, so you've been to Iraq, then you go to
Yes.
Iran. Um, when you go to Iran, what is that experience like? In for people listening who may not know, is it logistically difficult? Like, is it hard to get a visa? Do you have a lot of effort? People may not know, how to go there. If you can just get on a flight. I mean, you went to Iraq, you just hopped on the bus. Is Iran
Yeah.
similar? Just hop on a flight kind of thing or bus?
So Iraq is very easy. You just fly to Iraq and you get your visa on arrival. Getting an Afghanistan visa is also super easy. I got it in 15 minutes in Pakistan. And then Iran is also easy, but it, you have to apply for the visa using a travel agency. It is also possible that you apply for a visa without a travel agency and you get it. Like I got it for the first time in Iran. I just filled in a form and then I filled in a form online. And next day when I wake up, I've got my visa ready and I could just pick it up. But for the second time, it didn't, I got my visa rejected and I used a travel agency to get my visa. And the way it works is that there is a travel agency, for example, if I can name it, First Quest, you go on their website and you apply for a visa through them, and they will get you an authorization code. And with this authorization code, you can apply for your visa. Sorry, you can, no, with this authorization code, you pick up your visa. So, and this authorization code costs about $35.
Mhm.
So it's really not complicated. It's just an extra step to take when applying for your visa.
Okay, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
also very important to say that I'm from Hungary. As a European citizen, it's very easy for me to get this visa and travel in Iran independently. But for example, if you're an American, Canadian, or British citizen, you can't travel independently in in Iran. You have to join a tour or hire a tour guide
Interesting. And
to
and
travel in Iran.
so you have this opportunity to travel as a solo traveler there. What is the daily life like when you arrive? Does what surprises you? What doesn't surprise you when you're there?
What surprised me in Iran, just like it surprised me in Iraq and Afghanistan, is that life is normal. Life is normal. People think, I don't know, bombs are dropping there. I don't know, the terrorists are shooting around. No, life is so peaceful in these countries. That's what I love. Iran is such a peaceful country. So we want to talk about Iran. I was just surprised that, life is normal, so peaceful. People are so polite. People are so kind. Um, People are not loud. I thought that, yeah, that was like a misconception that I had about Iranians, that they must be loud, but they are not. They're not loud at all. They are like, they talk very in such a polite and respectful manner. So you don't hear what they are talking about at the other table, and they don't disturb others in restaurants or in public places.
And
That's what was interesting.
and is the time you went, is this I mean, how do you dress? Do you feel uncomfortable? Are there special steps that you have to take? I think probably right around or a little bit probably after your trip, there's the headscarf protests and things. So,
Mm-hmm.
how was that experience like for you?
I'm I've traveled a lot in Muslim countries, so I'm used to wearing a headscarf and I'm used to dress modestly, and I honestly really love it. I really enjoy wearing traditional clothes. So when I went to Iran, I was really surprised at how people dress, and I was like, wow, I like Iranian fashion. It's so cool. They are so colorful because people think that everybody's wearing um, a niqab there. Everybody is wearing a black um, dress. Everybody's covered, but actually, it was not the case. And I'm now talking about 2018, 2019 as well. So women in Iran are dressed up so nicely, and they are wearing a lot of colorful scarves. I bought so many scarves in Iran, very beautiful, colorful, with beautiful flowery patterns, and I really enjoyed wearing them. Somehow, a lot of foreigners are not comfortable with wearing a scarf. I really like it. And in Iran, you don't have to wear it like in a very strict way. You just put it, you just take a very casual scarf, you put it on your head very casually. So it's not, I don't find it uncomfortable at all. As for how I dressed up in Iran, other than the scarf, nothing conservative. You don't have to dress conservatively at all in Iran. You wear, for example, a pair of jeans with a top. The point is that the top covers your butt and covers your here, like your shoulders and your arms.
Arms.
Up till this is fine. Same with the jeans. You can wear a pair of jeans that shows like this much of your legs.
Mhm.
That's fine. So I didn't find it so strict. And when I was in Iran, I was always wearing really, really, really pretty clothes and pretty dresses. And when I shared them on Facebook at the time, I didn't use Instagram. Everybody was so shocked, like, "Don't, this is what you are wearing in Iran? These pretty clothes, these colorful dresses." People didn't want to believe me. Plus all the jewelries and the colorful nail polish and makeup and everything. So I have no problem with Iranian fashion, and I have no problem with the headscarf either. And I can say the same in Afghanistan. When I was in Afghanistan, I was also wearing really pretty dresses, and people were shocked. It's like, "No, I don't believe that you're wearing these dresses in Afghanistan." Oh, I do. They are modest. They have to be modest, but they can be beautiful, colorful, and fancy.
So switching to Afghanistan now, when you went, is this before or after, the US withdrew its military?
It's after, of course, it's during Taliban. I traveled to Afghanistan in September. I traveled in Afghanistan in September, October 2023.
Okay. Oh yeah. So
Yes. Now, before the Taliban, it was not safe to go there
mhm.
because there was a war there. So people are asking, why are you going there now? Because what? Of course, I'm going there now because now there is no war there. There is no US there. Now it's safe because it's under Taliban control. And people will people hate me for saying that, but that's the reality because now the country is under Taliban rule. It's safe. It's a very strict government, but it maintains security and safety for its citizens. Of course, there are a lot of rules to respect, but you're safe.
And what are the logistics like to go there? So I mean, you said you went from Pakistan, so you went overland.
Yes,
I'm guessing
yes.
Peshawar is probably the crossing point you used.
Yes, exactly. First, I got my visa in Peshawar. It was very easy. It took me 15 to 20 minutes to get my visa. And then the next day, I just went to travel to Afghanistan using public transport. Super easy, super easy. You just have in Peshawar, you have to go to the share taxi station. There, you get a share taxi to the border. And then at the border, you go through immigration. It takes some time. And then on the other side of the border in Afghanistan, you just get into another share taxi. That's all.
And are
Very
you
easy.
are you the only woman now, going across the border? Is it mostly men going back and forth in the shared taxi?
Um, No, there are also other women who have done this. Yeah, it's not something unique anymore, because travelers, travelers who are interested in these countries, they keep following each other, and they say, oh, she has done it, I can do it too, I will go too, it's safe. So I'm not saying that a lot of women travel through this border independently and on their own, but there are some.
And are you nervous? You know, when you're going across the border, I mean, do you have any thoughts of like, oh boy, what if I can't leave? What if there's problems with the visa or anything like that?
No, I'm never worried about anything. I am just excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's so exciting. I'm so happy that I'm doing this. And why? Nothing will happen to you at the border. Nothing can happen to you at the border. It's just the border. It's just like any other border. Of course, it is sad to be one of the most dangerous borders in the world. It could be. And actually, something happened after I crossed the border.
Okay.
So I can't say can't say it's safe, because things can happen. So what happened after I crossed the border? A shooting started, a very, very big shooting started between the Taliban forces and the Pakistani armed forces. Just like a couple of minutes after I left the border.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yes, because what happened is that I don't know who, the Taliban started building something on the Pakistani side, or the Pakistanis started building something on the Afghan side. That resulted in a fight. You know, they said, no, you can't do this.
Did you find out while you were there, or did you find out after? I mean, had you gone far enough away that you didn't notice, or do you hear gunshots in the background?
I just knew it in Kabul, because I just learned it in Kabul, because that's when I had internet for the first time. Because on the way from the border to Kabul, which is about how many hours? At least 6 hours. I didn't have internet, so I didn't know about it. Oh no, wait, no, because the taxi driver told us 3 hours. I think 2-3 hours after we left the border, taxi driver said, "Oh, a shooting started at the border. It's good that we left." Yes.
Why? So
because yes, because the taxi driver, works there and lives at the border. So this is how he got the info.
So what are you wearing at this point? Trying to create this sort of mental image.
Yes.
I would assume most people are thinking you're you're completely covered, right? Your head.
No.
So what is the outfit like when you're crossing the border?
It's absolutely not necessary to do that. So as you know, before Afghanistan, I was in Pakistan. And in Pakistan, I purchased a couple of local dresses. Do you know kurta?
Yeah, I can.
Kurta, it's a top worn in India, Nepal, in Pakistan. It's a long top with pants. The pants can be loose, it can be tight. I was wearing a loose Indian pant or Pakistani pant with a kurta, which is a loose long top. Plus, I was wearing a headscarf, which was very loosely put on my head. Do you want me to show it to you? Do you want me to get a scarf and I tell you?
You don't have to. If you,
I should have got it.
So
next time.
Yeah. That's pretty surprising. I mean, I'm surprised that you. So how did you research what to wear? Do you know what I mean? Like, did you have a question before? Were you confused? I mean, did you also have these misconceptions of what to wear, or did you have some research or some advice before that, you knew kind of how to go about it?
Honestly, I didn't do any research, but generally I have just a lot of knowledge about these cultures and countries, and I have an idea about what to wear. And always what I do, I always keep asking people around me, is it good what I'm wearing? Is it okay if I'm wearing my scarf like this? I always keep asking people. So I know what to wear, but I ask people, locals, to make sure I do the right things, I wear the right thing. So when I was in Peshawar, I bought a couple of local dresses, And I asked my Pakistani friends, is it okay if who are from Peshawar, is it okay if I go to Afghanistan like this? Yes, of course, it's perfect, because they know Afghanistan, because they've also been there. Yes. And then when I'm in Afghanistan, I was wearing my Pakistani clothes in the first couple of days.
Mhm.
And the Afghans always said, you look like an Afghan girl. They were always telling me. And so I know when people tell me I look like the local girls, I look like an Afghan girl, I look like a Pakistani girl, that it means I'm wearing the right thing.
Ah, it is, yeah, it
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes. And it's funny. It's funny because actually the Pakistani clothes that I was wearing in Afghanistan in the first couple of days, actually I didn't see anybody wearing them, but still people were telling me I look like Afghan girls. It's also because probably in other parts of Afghanistan, girls are wearing similar clothes.
Mhm. And are these bright clothes, colorful clothes? Is it all black? Mhm.
Yes. Oh no, black. I hate black. I'm wearing very, very colorful clothes, like as colorful as possible. And the funny thing is that nobody was even staring at me. In Afghanistan, women now are not really wearing colorful clothes. However, nobody was staring at me for wearing colorful clothes. That means I blended in. That means just because others don't do it, it's still kind of common and normal.
And so when you're in this shared taxi, the driver, does he know you're foreign right away, or does it come up as you're driving? And are you going to Kabul immediately, or is there another place that you're going along the way?
Um, yes. So in case of the Pakistan-Afghanistan border, yes, everybody, when they look at me, they see I'm a foreigner for sure. And I want them to know that I'm a foreigner, because when I go to the border, already on the Pakistani side, I go to the soldiers and I say, hello, I'm here. I'm Dinah from Hungary. I would like to cross the border. And then they help me because they help foreigners. The foreign tourists are in a privileged situation. Because they want to make sure these soldiers there at the borders that you are safe and nothing will happen to you. So they help you all the way, all through the border.
And
And then the taxi can be getting a taxi driver is a very overwhelming experience. So you have to be kind of an experienced traveler to deal with the taxi drivers at the border. We were really lucky. We found a guy who could speak English, and then he helped us.
and do you take, I'm assuming in Afghanistan they don't have ATM machines where you can
They
pull out.
have, absolutely, they have. Yeah, of
So
course.
you don't have to take out all of your, are you bringing a whole bunch of cash with you, or
No.
just enough to get to, okay, interesting.
I never travel with I never have more than $100 on me when I travel. Sometimes maybe a little bit more if I want to pay for a tour or something more expensive, but generally I don't carry a lot of cash for safety reasons. So if I lose my bag, or if I get robbed, which never happens, I don't lose a lot of money. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of tourists who travel to Afghanistan with thousands of dollars. I don't see the point, because it's a cheap country.
Mhm.
Of course, if you want to pay for your tour guide, you have to have a lot of cash, but you don't have to bring all the cash with you, because I tell you, I had maximum, how much money did I have with me? Maximum $200, not maybe $100, not more than that. And
And
you can withdraw money in the big cities in Afghanistan. They have a lot of cash machines. Not all the cash machines work with the foreign credit cards, but there are like one or two banks that work.
okay, and can you use credit cards there? I guess is the next question. Do those work, or is it mostly a cash?
I Cash, mostly cash, yes. In some very expensive restaurants or in some very expensive places, you can pay by a credit card, but generally, no. I don't think that I think I always paid by cash.
And so you're in the shared taxi. You're going to Kabul, right? Is that your
Yeah.
first stop? How long of a drive is that? Is it, I mean, is it a long drive? I'm assuming it's not a short drive.
No, if I remember well, about 6, 7 hours.
Mhm.
I have to check my travel blog because I don't remember such things, but about 6, 7 hours. Yes, and it's a very beautiful and scenic ride.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it.
And you're by yourself, right? You're solo traveling on this trip.
At this point, I wasn't alone. At
Mhm.
this point, for the border crossing, actually, I met a girl from Moldova.
Mhm.
I met her in Lahore, and we traveled to the border together. And then also at the border, we met a German guy. So the thing was that we were already in the share taxi, and the taxi driver said, "Wait, I've heard that there is a German tourist. let me
Okay.
get let me get him." So we ended up three foreigners in the same car. It was
Interesting.
very interesting. Yeah. And
And,
that German guy had a very interesting story. So he wanted to travel to Afghanistan from Pakistan by bike, and the Pakistanis didn't let him like leave the country, like didn't let him across the border with his bike. So he was actually, he had to stay there one day. He slept at the border to wait for what to do next day. And in the end, he had to leave his bike at the border, and then he could
wow.
join us next day. Yes,
Interesting. So,
yes.
there's so many questions I want to ask. But, are you worried about, like, does the driver try to like rip you off when you get to your destination? Is there a whole negotiation that happens for the price? Yeah, I'm assuming, in a lot of places, you have a taxi driver, sees three foreigners, the price is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen to you when you're, pricing things out?
Not really. The thing is, I know the prices. Before I take taxis, I research about the prices. So when I, for example, went to the share taxi in Peshawar, they kept telling me prices, and I said, I want this price, I want this price. And I'm very strict. Like, I'm not like, no, I know that's not the price. I know the price. So I need that price. I want to pay that price because I know that's the price. So I'm very, very strict, not like a little girl. I have to talk like a man, you know. And in Afghanistan, it was the same. This guy, the driver said something. I said, look, I know the price, but in the end, I think the price we agreed on was absolutely fair. Like,
Mhm.
yes, but I don't know if in the end I noticed that we paid a little bit more. I didn't understand why. So maybe he did some trick there. I don't remember the exact situation, but okay, that was not a lot of money, just a little bit of money, and we were tired, so I didn't care.
I always call
But
that
and
the.
sometimes and I wasn't sure, but I
Mhm.
said it wasn't the price. We paid a little bit. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's like just a couple of cents more. It's really not a big deal.
Yeah, I call that the foreign tax, where
Yeah.
you are paying a little bit more. I think it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get the
Mm-hmm.
local price.
Mm-hmm.
But you're paying more, but it's not like four times the amount. It's just a
Yes.
little bit more.
Yes, I think you have to be confident when you deal with these drivers, and then things will go fine, and they will not try to trick you. I'm very strict when I travel and deal with these men on the road. I'm very strict, and I talk like a man. So they normally don't even try to like scam me. If
Mhm.
they do, maybe a couple of cents, you know. Um, Actually, on the way back, wait, the guy tried to scam me. Do you want to know the story? On the way
Sure.
back, the
Yeah.
driver. So what happened? I went to the share taxi station in Kabul. This is on the way back to Pakistan from Afghanistan. And I asked for the prices at the share taxi station. And you have to understand the share taxi station at that point of time, it was full of people, full of taxi drivers wanting to get you as their client, you know. Plus, you have a lot of children begging around you,
Mhm.
street children, you know, they are hungry, they need money, they want food. So you have all these people around you, and it's sunny. It was actually 8 o'clock, but it was so sunny. It's a very overwhelming experience, and you have to stand your ground in the mess. That can be a challenge, and that's what it's good to learn in such situations in these countries. And then also what I do they told me the price is like very high price, and I knew they were too high. They will double the actual price. And I just quickly ran to the car as passengers. I saw in the first car, in the first taxi, I saw passengers already. Hey guys, how much are you paying? Luckily they could speak English. How much are you paying? And they told me the price. And I said, I want the same price. I want the same price as the guys are paying. It's like, okay. Of course, then they will not. They just stopped arguing with me. And when I say arguing, is not arguing, it's just like loud and passionate negotiating and bargaining, you know? So yes, and I know we agreed on 600. I didn't have 600 Afghani when I paid. And the guy gave me 100 Afghani less back. And I said, okay, it is 100 Afghani. When I live in Afghanistan, it's not a big deal, but like we agreed on it. Like, you know, it's not the price. No, it's 700. You told me 600. So why are you charging me more now? But he really insisted on it. And then I said, okay, fine, whatever. And then the guys who were in the car, they were just exchanging money a couple of meters away from the taxi. And I told them, guys, look what happened. Look what happened. You remember how much? Tell me, how much was I supposed to pay? 600. He made me pay 700. And they were so nice. They came back and defended me, and they got my money back from the driver. It's really not a lot of money, that 100. Really not a lot of money. And it's not about, but it was a very interesting situation that you can learn a lot. You know, I learned so much from this situation. That's why it's good to have also have the exact change, because so that the driver doesn't play this game that he will give you less money back. Again, it's not a lot of money. It's more about just, it's an interesting situation. And when you are in such a situation, you shouldn't get like pissed off or get angry. You should look at it like, okay, how will let's solve this situation. How will I get out of this situation so that I win? How should I handle this?
Yeah.
And then in the end, I found the right way to do it. I went up to the guys and I told them, guys, look what happened. And they had me.
Yeah, because it's cumulative. If you allow yourself to be put in that position and you're okay with it, it's going to add up, and you're going to just, everybody is going to be taking extra money from you. And you're
very true.
Yeah. So
sorry.
You have to, no.
So I want to say that I believe in this, that I believe in that if you allow, it's okay, it's 100 Afghani, it's not a lot of money, it's a couple of dollars. The point is, if you allow people to take advantage of you, because you say, oh, it's not a lot of money, oh, it's not a big deal. Believe me, you will be taken advantage of all the time when you're traveling. That's why you have to fight with these situations, but you have to do it in a smart way. Don't get pissed off, don't get angry, because it's just gonna make your mood worse. But like, okay, let's see, this is a new challenge on the road. How will I solve it?
Yeah.
How will I win this situation? And still I will stay happy, and I will not get nervous, but I will be just chill.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And also for every other traveler after you who is taking those shared taxis or whatever it is, I always feel like you need to set the standard, right? Like you
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise
but
it's going to be more difficult. Yeah.
Yes, you know what the driver told me? So the driver from the Pakistan-Afghanistan border to Kabul, he told me he's always cheating, he's always scamming Chinese tourists and American tourists. And he says, look, I don't have a lot of money. Chinese and American, they have a lot of money. So why wouldn't I want to scam them? They don't know the prices, so I don't care. And you know, I was like, before he told me about how his approach to Chinese and American tourists, I was like, oh, he's so nice, he's so kind, I will recommend him to other travelers. But when I heard this, I said, no. Yeah. You know, that's why he didn't scam me. He didn't try to scam me because he understood that I was not stupid. He tried it a little bit, but when he said how much he charges when he has American and Chinese tourists, I was like, what the hell? It's too much money. But they don't know the prices, and they have money, so why not?
Yeah.
That's why it's your responsibility as a traveler to be smart. And when you know what, when people scam you, I don't say it's their fault. I say it's your fault. You should have been smarter. You should have done your own research about the prices, and you have to learn to communicate with taxi drivers, and you have to learn to communicate with people from different cultures. Mm-hmm. For example, in Afghanistan, also in Iran, people have this so-called indirect communication. Mm-hmm. And you have to understand what they mean by what they say. You know, for example, in Afghanistan, there is this saying, don't worry, you are my guest. So foreign tourists think that then they don't have to pay, but no, it's just a polite saying. You are my guest. But you, as a traveler, you have to say, no, of course I will pay. And you have to play this game, you know. Mm-hmm. No, you are my guest. No, I'm sure I want to pay because you deserve it. Come on, you provide the service. Of course I will pay for it. No, you are my guest. But in the end, you will have to pay, and you have to pay. This is just like a polite game that you go with, but you don't have to. A lot of foreigners think that they don't have to pay, and then we have to pay. They are like angry because, but the guy said I don't have to pay. Of course you have to pay. Nothing is services are not for free. Products are not for free.
So it's really interesting. You had this experience, but it seems like you are prepared. You're not, mm-hmm. It's not unexpected. I would be, for me, I'm thinking you're on this 6-hour, 7-hour car going to Kabul. Are you worried? Like, do we get stopped? Do I get kidnapped? Are any of these thoughts going through your mind?
Nothing like that. I'm never worried. And why would I get kidnapped? I think it's just some false rumors about Afghanistan that people get kidnapped today. There are some people who can get kidnapped, of course. If you are a journalist, or you are some fishy person coming from certain countries, but no, I never. Why would I get kidnapped? So, and why would we get stopped? Like, there is no reason. Like, I don't see any reason for that. We got stopped. Yeah, there are checkpoints in Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. And at the checkpoints, yeah, you do have to stop. And they will check your passport. And that's it. And they check your passport. They see you are a foreign tourist. And that's it. It's really not a big deal. They register you. They have some booklet where they register the foreign travelers. The same in Iraq. It's just, they are after war. So in countries which are after war, they have this system, and it's just for your safety.
And when you get to Kabul, where do you stay? Is it when booking a hotel or wherever you're staying? How does that work? Is it like anywhere else? Is it a little bit different?
So normally now, there are a lot of people, like there have been a lot of travelers in Afghanistan, and they just keep passing information to each other. So we mostly go to the same hotels. So the hotels that I went to, they already had a lot of experience with foreign travelers. And normally I book hotels on WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. So I just save their number on WhatsApp. I send them, hi guys, I'm coming tonight. Can you prepare a single room for me? It's like, yeah, sure, come. You're welcome. We are waiting for you. That's it.
And what's the accommodation like? Is it clean? Is it dingy? What can people expect?
So it depends on how much you pay for your accommodation. In Afghanistan, I paid generally 1,000. How much did I pay for a hotel? Let me check. So it's like 1,500 Afghani for a single room. That's how much I paid average, which I would say it's budget accommodation. So nothing fancy, just very simple. Afghani to USD, let's say. Oh no, it's Afghani, not Azerbaijani. Afghani, I think it's about, I don't want to say a different amount, it's $20. So average, I spent $20 on a single room in Afghanistan. And for that, you get a simple room with your own bathroom. And it's clean. It's very clean, yes.
And there are other foreigners. You have the people that you were in the shared taxi with. I'm assuming they're staying at the same hotel.
Yes, yes. I don't know the German guy. I don't remember. I think he went to a cheaper place. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think he went to another hotel which was only like $12. So for example, for $12, you get a clean room and then shared bathroom. For $12 in Afghanistan, you don't have your own a bathroom in a hotel.
And can you just, you arrive, do you just walk out onto the street? I think a lot of people are, would be like, do you have a guide with you all the time? Armored guard, people
No,
listen.
no. No, I walk around in Afghanistan like I walk around in Europe. I don't need a guide. I don't need a security man with me, nothing. Of course, when I first left my hotel in the morning, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Afghanistan and I'm gonna just walk out of my hotel by myself as a woman. Oh my God. I was really excited because I had a lot of things in my head, like, in this country as a woman, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that's actually so detrimental for women when you hear that. You can't do this, you can't stay in a hotel in Afghanistan on your own. Of course I can. Look at me. Look at me, come. You see, I have nothing else in my room. I'm in a single room by myself. And I go to the restaurant in the morning for breakfast by myself. And then I go outside by myself. I go to restaurants alone. I go to shopping malls alone. And it's completely fine and nobody cares. Nobody is paying attention to me, because it's just normal. And I'm when I'm in Afghanistan by myself, I was always so excited, really, really excited, because still it was like, I'm a woman and I'm doing this by myself in Afghanistan. Wow, it's so amazing, and I can do it, and it's fine, and I can do everything, and never ever it happened to me that somebody said, no, you can't do something because you are a woman alone. Only once it happened, but we fixed that. I can talk about that later. But generally, honestly, it's nothing special in reality. It's so normal in reality. It's just a lot of things we have in our head about Afghanistan that, oh, women can't do this, can't do that. And that affects us. That affects our experience as well.
So you don't need a male escort, right? Like
Absolutely not. That's a lie about Afghanistan, that women need a male escort to do things. You can, as a woman, look. Let's not talk about me, because people say that, oh, you are a foreign woman, that's why you can do it. First of all, going back to me. So first of all, nobody knows that when I'm in Afghanistan, and especially when I'm wearing the traditional Afghan dresses in Afghanistan, nobody knows that I'm a foreigner. If they analyze my moves, my behavior, then they know, but mostly they don't. There are some people who know it because they work around, let's say, the hotels, like the taxi drivers around the hotels. There are beggars around the hotels. They understand that I'm a foreigner. They know that because they are there all day and watching people. But like outside the areas where a lot of hotels, people don't get it that I'm a foreigner.
And so, and when you walk out, you mentioned the beggars and things. Do you get a lot of attention, a lot of people coming up to you? Or is it kind of you just walk out and nobody comes up to you,
Just the beggars who are children. They are there waiting for the tourists. I only got attention from them. The Afghans generally are very reserved people, and they are very polite, so they don't disturb other people. They don't talk to other people on the street. In restaurants, yes, it can happen. You go to a restaurant and other women will come up to you, because when I go to restaurants, I'm mostly alone. So that's like the other women see that and they want to talk with me and they invite me to their table, or they join my table, or children like coming up to me to talk, to give me some company, But like on the street, nobody will like approach me except the children on the street who are there for begging, and they are taken there by some, I don't know what you call them, some, it works like mafia.
It's organized.
So those children, it's all organized. Those children are taken there exactly to bother me, and they are very, very. People hate me when I talk about this, but they are very aggressive. Those children. The girls as well, not just the boys. Actually, the girls are more aggressive than the boys, and they do bad things when you ignore them or when you don't give them money. So
And
I'm not saying.
oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was
No,
just gonna
please.
say, is pickpocketing an issue? You know, where you have all these kids around you, and they tend to be at a height which is ideal for taking things out of a pocket or a bag or something like that.
It can happen at the border. Actually, it can happen, and they are there. Also at the border, a lot of children, and they are there to. If you don't give them money, they will try to steal from you. And for them, it's a game. It's not that. Just they are taken. Those kids are taken there, and they are just playing with the tourists, literally. They are emotionally like manipulating the tourists. For example, I've seen them start crying. They start crying to make people feel sorry for them, but then they turn around and they start laughing, and they start laughing at what they are doing themselves. So people, those kids are very smart in a lot of ways, so you have to treat them like adults. When I say them, people hate me. When I say this, people hate me. No, they are children. You have to treat them like children. No, these kids you have to treat them like adults, because they are smarter than, in a lot of ways, they're smarter than adults. They didn't steal from me at the border. I was with the girl from Moldova, and they took stuff from her bag. So, and they do it so smartly. First they come and they're acting like cute, and in the next second they're so swift, so fast. You just have things missing from your bag. So you have to be careful. So when, for example, once I left my hotel and I was going to my hotel. I was very close, like 3 meters from my hotel, from the hotel entrance door. 3 girls approached me. I was paying attention because they talking to me, they want money, but at the same time they come very close. The girls are can be very tricky, because they come too close to you, touch you, they are touching you. They are everywhere. And then I know that they are very fast. So if you don't pay attention, they can maybe steal something from you. So that's the only thing in Afghanistan, honestly, that is kind of not safe, but they will not hurt you. They will just be nasty with you. But people actually don't talk about this because they are children. So when I, for example, first talked about it, and I didn't complain about it, I just stated that, look, this is what's happening. People were literally attacking me for that. How can you talk about this? How can you talk about children like this? They are professional thefts. These are gang members. These people will, if you say that, if you talk about them like they were little children being Nazi, you can't do that, because these kids will grow up as criminals. And we don't know what will happen to these children, because I think these children, I don't know if they were there in Afghanistan before, because I don't know. And I don't know what will happen to these children, but definitely the problem is that people treat them like children, not the children, but they are actually organized criminals. And that's why nobody talks about it, because then you get attacked if you talk about it.
Yeah, I assume like any place, right? There are difficulties, whatever it happens to be. I have encountered some crafty children in my travels who have never been successful, but have been very close. So I know what you mean. I know what that's like, especially when, like I said, children are usually at a height which is advantageous for things like pickpocketing, because
exactly.
their hands are at that right height to take things, and you don't really, it's out of your line of sight. But you did mention restaurants, so I'm very curious what the food is like. Is the food good? What kind of food variety is there?
The food in Afghanistan is amazing, especially the meat. And mind the fact, I'm not a food lover, a meat lover. Before going to Afghanistan and Pakistan, I would hardly eat meat. For example, I don't like the quality of the meat in most European countries. But in Pakistan, and also especially in Afghanistan, the meat was I wanted to eat meat every day. I wanted to eat beef every day. and I wanted to eat lamb every day. The quality of the meat there is so good and it's so delicious. And I ordered, like, people ordered me things, and I said, I'm not gonna eat this. I'm really not into meat, this kind of big meat, and it doesn't even look good. When I tasted it, oh my God, I finished the whole thing. So I really like the food in Afghanistan. As for the variety, there are not a lot of different Afghan dishes, to be honest, but the restaurants serve also like Chinese food and Indian food and Pakistani food.
Mhm.
So generally in the restaurants you have everything. Also Turkish, they serve Turkish food.
Mm. So a lot of meats and sort of grilled vegetable type of
Yes,
dishes. Is it spicy? Do they use a lot of different spices, or is it more kind of sort of like basic level of spice?
basic level of spices. They don't, I've never had really spicy food in Afghanistan.
So as a tourist, when you're in Kabul, what do you do? You know, what is it? What is your daily? What are the sites? Where are you going? What's on your sort of bucket list for Kabul?
So what I do, I know the best places to visit. I made some research on the best places to visit, and also I get tips from other travelers or from the hotel, and I just say, okay, I want to go here, and I just take a taxi and I go there. For example, the Bibi Mavro Park is one of the best places to see in Kabul. It's very interesting that actually women in Afghanistan are not allowed to go to parks, but foreign women can.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is that the entrance ticket for foreigners is expensive. So of course they will allow us to enter
I
because,
see.
but the local ticket is very cheap, so they don't allow the local women. I hope it will change.
Mhm.
Hope it will change. Another amazing place to visit in Kabul. I don't remember the exact names. There is a beautiful mosque. It's called the Blue Mosque of Kabul.
Mhm.
That's another place that is a must place to visit in Kabul. Again, it's very easy to get there. You can take taxis everywhere, and you enter and you just enjoy your time.
And how long did you stay in Afghanistan total? What was the total time there?
For an entire month,
Entire month.
1 month. Yes.
So, yeah, so it seems like you left with a positive impression, right? So, is it a place that you would say people should visit, or is it a place that you would visit again, or is it like
Yeah.
you've done it already?
So actually, I was already on the road when I entered Afghanistan. I was already on the road for 6 months. So I was really tired of traveling, but I said to myself, okay, before I'm going home, I have to do Afghanistan finally. Because
Mhm.
I've been always planning to go to Afghanistan now. I am now, next time. Like, no, I'm just gonna go. I don't care how tired I am of traveling. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna spend 1 week there and then I'm going home. And instead of 1 week, I spent there an entire month because that's how much I enjoyed it. That's how much I loved it. And I'm going back again in April.
Mhm.
If things go well, I will go back. So I will travel to Iran in March for a month or so, and then I will travel to Afghanistan from Iran, crossing the Iran-Afghanistan border.
Interesting. Well,
Yes.
mhm.
And no, it's a country for me. I really love Afghanistan. I really love just, you know what I love it. That's very important. I didn't mention it. I love traveling to countries that are kind of misunderstood, and that's what I love about Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan is that people think they are dangerous, but when you go there, you realize it's not. People think this and that and that, and you realize that the reality is completely the opposite of what people believe in. It's completely the opposite what the media says about these countries, you know. And that's why I enjoy these countries. Every single day I learn something new, I see something new. Even if I don't have, for example, in Kabul, I don't have to travel, I don't have to visit a touristic attraction to feel like to see something. Just roam around the streets and you see things, you know. Even you said that, oh, Are there cash machines in Afghanistan? You see, and like I actually really enjoyed like checking out the cash machines. You see, this also Afghanistan has this. There is this bank and there is that bank, and you see my MasterCard is working, my Visa card is working here. Okay, I couldn't withdraw money here. Why not? I check why not. So all these little things are interesting in Afghanistan. And whether it's not for everyone. Afghanistan is not for everyone. Afghanistan, if you travel to Afghanistan, you have to be kind of open-minded, open to a different kind of living, a different culture. And yeah, you just have to accept that kind of, you have to be the kind of person who accepts that not everything is like in what you're used to. And there are a lot of crazy situations. Also, in Afghanistan, crazy situations can happen. And you have to be the kind of person who enjoys that. You know, okay, now it's something weird happened. Because if you are like, some people are like, oh my God, we had to wait at the checkpoint for half an hour. If you have this mentality, don't go to Afghanistan, then stay home, just go to Paris, you know? So I believe it's not for everyone. And also, I think you have to be kind of chill and brave to travel in Afghanistan in a way, not because it's dangerous there, it's because you have to conquer your own fear. You have to kill the anxiety in you that was created by like the media or by people who want to spread lies about these countries.
Well, I think it's interesting speaking to people who have been to, places that most people wouldn't consider a destination for a traveler or a tourist. And I'm always surprised that it always seems like so normal in the sense that, like, when you talk to people who take a trip, to countries that you wouldn't expect, it's kind of like any other trip in the sense that there's the logistics of going there, and then, at a hotel, you go to the restaurants, you go to like, overall, it seems like more normal. It's just that the location is very, very different or unexpected or unusual. But so that's interesting. So I'm really fascinated to talk about these places with people who have been, like yourself, to places that most people wouldn't consider going. I do have one last question as we wrap things up, as we do talk a lot about tech on the podcast. So I am curious, as someone who, like, I travel with a lot of cameras, a lot of electronics, is that an issue? What kind of gear did you go with when you're taking pictures and filming things? What kind of things are you bringing with you?
So it depends on the country. Now I try to travel with less and less because I don't want to carry a lot of things. But for example, in Iraq, when I traveled in Iraq, I still had my iPhone, my camera, my tripod, my selfie stick, and everything. And for example, people are afraid, like, can I use my camera in Iraq? Can I film in Iraq? Yeah, of course you can. I was like making videos in Iraq like this with my iPhone, and I had my camera hanging here. I had also my tripod with me, and whenever I use my tripod, or I use my selfie stick, whatever I can. It's totally fine. In Iraq, I think it's absolutely fine to take pictures everywhere and use your tripod. It's in some mosques, in some very holy mosques, you can only use your phone for taking pictures and making videos. So for a camera, you would need a permit. But I think it's okay because with today's phones, you can make really great videos. So it's fine. In Iran also you can do everything. Actually, Iran is a very touristic place. The tourism infrastructure in Iran is really amazing. So traveling in Iran is super easy because you have buses everywhere, and it's really easy to use the bus. And also you have trains, and everywhere. I was in Iran for the first time, for example, with my tripod and with selfie stick and everything, and nobody cared. Like, it was normal to do that. At the train station, I've heard that, like, at the train stations, you are not supposed to take pictures. And I walked up to the soldier, hello, I'm a tourist. I would like to make videos of the train station. And they were like, yeah, of course, you don't have to ask it. You do whatever you want. So even in places where I thought it was not allowed, they always say it's fine, it's okay, don't worry. Take any picture, take pictures, make videos, whatever you want. If you need help, let us know.
Interesting. And Afghanistan was
Yeah.
the same thing?
Afghanistan. So in Afghanistan, I only use my iPhone
Mhm.
because I just didn't want to carry a lot of things. And I also wanted to take my drone, but I said, nah, I will not carry it. And maybe the drone can be problematic. As for the drones, it's a good point. In Iraq and Iran, as a foreigner, you're not allowed to take your own drone to the country.
Mhm.
You can fly a drone in Iraq, but only the drone has to belong to a local. There are a lot of Iraqis who fly drones. So if you want to have drone footages, you should contact them, but you can't take your own drone to the country. You can try it, but I tell foreigners, no, you shouldn't even try it because it will get you into unnecessary trouble. As for Afghanistan, you can fly a drone in Afghanistan, you can take your drone in Afghanistan, but maybe you find some official who doesn't like it, who is suspicious about it, so maybe they will confiscate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, I don't want my drone to be confiscated, so I didn't take my drone to Afghanistan. Just I had what did I have? I had my iPhone in Afghanistan. I also had my camera, but I didn't really use it because it was so much easier to use my iPhone for photography and videos.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you have your phone, like nobody cares if you are filming or taking pictures because it's kind of common. But with a camera, it can be maybe sensitive because Afghans generally, they don't like to be, especially the women, they just don't want to be filmed, that they don't want to be photographed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're with a phone, it's okay. It's not that, it's not that flashy, not as flashy, not people don't see what you're doing that much.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Even when I'm videoing or interviewing people, if I have a phone, people are just like totally okay with the phone. But if I take out my big camera, something changes in people, right? They get more
Yes.
intimidated. And for everybody listening and watching, DroneMate, which is a great app which will tell you all the drone laws around the world and also get you the registration forms, which you can find on my website,
Yeah,
developed by
cool.
me. So there you go. Thanks for the intro into the plug for the DroneMate app. Is there any last thing that you want people to know about these countries? Any last thought that you want to share?
I want to say that people in Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan are very, very friendly and kind, very, very open to tourists and foreigners. They treat their foreign guests, especially the foreign guests, generally all their guests, but especially the foreign guests, very well. So, they like hosting foreigners, they like cooking for the foreigners. They just want to make sure that you are happy. It's very interesting. When you're in this country, sometimes people ask me, how can you enjoy your time in Afghanistan when you know that this and that is happening in this country? The women are suffering. I'm like, people want me to be happy. People, when I meet the Afghans, for example, they don't want me to be sad. They don't want me to cry. They won't want to have problems in the country. So they will do their utmost. They will do their best to make sure that I'm happy in their country. So they would be really disappointed, for example, if I went to Afghanistan and I would be having problems. And no, they want to see me happy there. They want to see me having fun. And this is also people want, the locals want. Mm-hmm. Everybody in these countries, they just want to enjoy life. They want to be happy. And when they have the guests, they also want their guests to be happy and enjoy. Yes, people should not be afraid to come to these countries because these countries are not what the media tries to portray them. They are very safe countries. Of course, things can happen, but like anywhere in the world. But people travel to countries that are actually more dangerous. I don't want to say it because I don't know. People hate me when I say that, but I think in countries like the US, you are more likely to have problems. You are more likely to be robbed in a country like in the US than in anywhere in Iraq, Iran, or Afghanistan. You are more likely to be shot in the US than in any of these countries. Because very important, the people are very good people. I'm not, of course, there are bad people everywhere, but generally, the people are so good in these countries. You know, they don't have bad intention. And what's amazing to learn when you go to these countries that people do a lot of good things for others without expecting anything. In the Western countries, people always say, oh, when people help me because they want something. It can happen everywhere in the world, but generally in Iraq and Iran, people just want to help you because they just want you to be happy without, like, what is it?
Something
Without
in return.
expecting anything, it just makes them happy when you're happy. So if they can do anything for you to make you happy, they will just do it. And that's a very beautiful thing to experience. And I think that's what a lot of Western people, Western tourists love about Iran and Iraq, for example, that they go there and they're like, wow, people are so nice. How is it even possible that people can be so nice, so friendly, so helpful? How? And believe me, most foreign tourists who visited once Iraq and Iran, they go back. Also Afghanistan, but especially Iraq and Iran, they always go back. I've been to Iraq 3 times, been to Iran twice, and now we keep going back because I love their culture. I love how they treat their guests and a lot of other things, and
I
how they make me feel at home.
I appreciate you sharing. You've definitely made Afghanistan higher up on my list. I'm trying to go to every country, but Afghanistan was one that I was like, I'll save that one, but maybe I push it higher up on the list. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people listening and when watching are gonna it's gonna pique their interest as well. Where can they find you? Your photos and videos and your site. Where can people read more?
So my main platform is my travel blog is www.theglobetrottingdetective.com. And that's where I share travel guides. So for example, if you want to travel to Afghanistan, Iraq, or Iran, and you want to know exactly how to travel there, you will find every single detail about on my website. I
Superb.
explain everything so detailed. Like, no, honestly, nobody can. I don't want to be arrogant, but I think nobody can explain it so detailed like I do in my travel guide. So if you have that, and if you follow my instructions, then you will have no trouble with traveling in Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan.
Yeah, you definitely are very detailed. I've seen the guides. It's very useful for people who want to visit. I'll also link to all your socials, so where people can find you,
Yes,
see the pictures, link and sort of put images to the story that they've heard. Um, Thank you very much again. Your
yes,
Instagram,
just
yeah,
can I say one thing? Yes, that
absolutely.
I also have an Instagram account and I shared a lot of stories on my Instagram from Afghanistan. And I have a lot of stories and they are saved in the highlights. And also I have some reels. So then you can understand it better, what it's like to travel in Afghanistan. You can see what I'm wearing because I think it's very important to see what I'm wearing, how I'm behaving, how I'm acting, what I'm doing, how I'm managing my things. And if you check my stories, you will understand everything much better.
And
But
what's
if
the
you want to travel to Afghanistan, really, I recommend my travel guides on my website because they are the best with prices, with all the options for all the accommodation, for all the transport options with prices.
what's the Instagram handle? What's your Instagram handle?
The Globetrotting Detective.
And
Yes.
I will
Same
link
everywhere.
I'll link to everything in the show notes. So
Thank you.
people watching and listening in the description, you can check out all the links, the site, Instagram, and see all these places. Thank you again very much for sharing some time and your stories and experiences in these places. I think it's fascinating. I'm really curious about Afghanistan. I think it is just a place that has, well, it had a lot of recent change, and I think as far as the travel landscape goes, there's not a lot of information out there, and it's sort of conflicting information as well. So thank you very much. I think you've made a lot of people interested
I
uh,
hope so.
to visit these places. So I appreciate your time, and thanks everybody for listening, and see you in the next episode. Thanks everybody for listening and watching to this episode of the foXnoMad podcast. Thank you, Diana, for being a guest. For those of you who are watching, make sure you give this video a like and a subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes of the podcast. For those of you listening, a 5-star rating and a review wherever you're listening to the podcast really helps us get the word out. So if you're on Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, you know where you're listening. 5 stars and a positive review helps very much. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching, and I'll speak with you in the next episode.